And that's one of the questions that people have about you. The two things that, the support of TARP early on and the Federal Reserve. How do you counter that?
Let's start with TARP. That's easy. Both of them are easy. I supported the concept of TARP, but after they started to implement it in a pick winners and losers fashion, I totally disagreed
When
with
you
it.
say you supported
The
what part of it? What
I
concept?
supported the concept that the administration was going to take some money and help our financial system because I had analyzed the meltdown. We needed to do something drastic. I normally wouldn't favor the government intervening in the free market system like that, but because the situation was so dire, I could go along with it. But it was the implementation of TARP that I had a problem with. They used some of the money for institutions like General Motors, other than just the banks. They didn't evenly distribute the help for small banks and community banks. Didn't agree with that. So they used it as a discretionary slush fund, which I totally disagreed with. So if I had to do it all over again, if I had known how they were going to implement it, they didn't tell the public how they were going to implement it, I would not have done it. Federal Reserve. The way we rein in the Federal Reserve is really very simple. I don't agree with ending the Federal Reserve like some people believe. I think we should fix it. Here's how we fix it. Back in the mid-1970s, the United States Congress expanded the mission of the Federal Reserve. They said, we want you to use monetary policy to control unemployment and control price stability of the dollar. That's giving them two targets with one arrow. It can't work. When I was on the board of the Federal Reserve in the 1990s, under Alan Greenspan, we never had to deal with a $14 trillion debt. So we were never forced to worry that much about unemployment because it was in the 4.5%, 5%, 6% range. Now we got unemployment over 9%. We got a $14 trillion debt. So this Federal Reserve is doing some things, quite frankly, that it shouldn't do, and I don't agree with.
Like quantitative easing.
Like quantitative easing, which is just another word for printing money in order to throw the public off. Here's what we do to rein it in. Have Congress rein that mission back to that single mission of controlling price stability, and they will not have the ability then to backstop the Treasury the way they are doing it right now.
Can I follow up on your question?
Yeah, but let me one more. As far as the interest rates, I mean, does the Federal Reserve really have any place in manipulating the interest rates?
Not when they're trying to do two things with 1 hour. This is what I'm saying. Here's what we got to do. The problem has got to be addressed. We got to grow the economy and bring down the debt. Then they won't have to try to backstop the Treasury. The reason that they haven't raised the interest rate is because they're still trying to backstop the Treasury Department because of the debt. The problem we've got to solve is stimulate the economy, grow the economy at a much faster rate. It's growing at an anemic rate. This is phase one of my plan. Lower the top corporate and personal income tax rate to a maximum of 25%. Take the tax on repatriated profits to zero. Take the capital gains tax to zero and make them permanent. That will stimulate this growth in this anemic economy. Why? Because the business sector is the engine of the economy, and this administration has done nothing to put anything in the engine. They put everything in the caboose. Healthcare reform, cap and trade and tax and kill, $1 trillion in spending that didn't work. So we got to put it in the economic engine, which is the business sector. So if we're growing revenues, because the economies are growing, some of those nearly 15 million people are going back to work, they're going to be paying taxes. At the same time, get serious about reducing the national debt. My approach to that is I would do a 10% across the board cut as an executive order of every agency. Then what business people do, you do a deep dive in every agency to eliminate redundancy, to eliminate overlap and things of this nature. It's not just the actions of the Federal Reserve that's causing the value of the dollar to go down. It's the combination of our debt as well as some of the actions of the Federal Reserve.